Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Authentic You podcast. This week we are going to be talking about embodiment and why it's important for sensitive, neurodivergent women to actually step into the peaceful life that you actually desire to create. Okay. And I'm going to say here desire and not need, because desire brings us into the space of limitless possibility. So I'm not denying that there are certain things that we need, but when we focus on desires rather than needs, this is also backed by the science of positive psychology as well. And we're going to bring some of that into today's conversation as well. So I have been doing the sensitive leadership reset sessions at the moment with clients, which has been an offer that I've had on for July, coming into the start of August. So by the time you listen to this, that offer will probably be closed or might just have one more day on it. So just a little heads up there for that. But one thing that I've been noticing in these conversations, which I really want to talk about today and respond to collectively, because I know if it's happening in these pockets of conversations here, it's going to be happening on a global level, that like local global thing. Does anyone learn that in GCSE geography? Like what's happening local, what's happening global? think global. So, and this is weird. This isn't the first time I've mentioned my I think I mentioned my GCSE history last podcast. So there's clearly with the eclipse season, there's clearly a theme here. So yeah. So I'm not going to share any specifics or confidential information from those conversations, but what I just want to share is the theme. So something that I ask women when they come into that space is, how connected are you with that feeling, that sacred yes and that sacred no in your body? And I get them to rate that out of 10. We have a conversation about that. And then another question that I ask is, you feel that sensation, you know what is a yes and a no for you. How effective are you at following it? And this is the biggest thing that I want to speak to, because what I tend to find is that the women in my world, women that come into my world, they know, okay, you have those sensitive gifts in you, like you just know. You have that feeling. You know what is an expansive yes for you. You know what is like a constricted or anxious feeling of no for you. Or perhaps it's an excitement, perhaps it's a peaceful feeling. Whatever that feeling is for you, which is your unique way, that is your compass. And I speak to a lot of women who know that this feels good, this doesn't feel good. Okay. And again, this links in with the desires and needs, because needs is more of a space of, this doesn't feel good. How do I move away from this thing? I've clearly got this need, right? And that is important. But when we're moving in the space of, and I know if you're here, you've got big dreams, goals, visions for the world, like you're here for big things, right? If you want to move in that space of possibility, if you want to move in that space of working with the quantum field and that co-creation, then we need to move in the space of desire, to move in the space of limitless possibilities. And that is a different thing from, there's a need. How do I keep myself out of burnout? Yes, we want to keep ourselves out of burnout, but that isn't a way strategy. A desire is a towards strategy. And this is all backed by science. So as a positive psychologist, I have deeply studied and even done my own research study on positive psychology. And this is what we find in the research of positive psychology, that actually when we focus on that area of possibility and we look at sensitivities, neurodivergence as superpowers. And people come at me when I say this. People are like, I'm so struggling. I'm really struggling. How dare you say it's a superpower? Like, people come at me, but the reality is the science backs this up. Like, everything that you have been through, the way that you are designed is for a reason. Each and every one of you has unique strengths, unique gifts. And it really is, your sensitivity really is a superpower. And when we focus on this field of limitless possibilities, we focus on that superpower, and what we focus on grows, what we focus on creates. It gives us more strength. There's even been research shown that in an experiment, when we fostered a positive, like limitless mindset in someone, that their grip strength, they were given something to grip, their grip strength increased when they were in a positive mindset. So it actually makes you stronger. I was remembering this. I was driving back from a friend's and then I was going to the gym yesterday and I put on some happy music. I love listening to Kygo, by the way. If anyone wants some really lovely, I'm not sponsored by Kygo on this video, but if anyone wants some lovely source connected, uplifting music. So I got myself into that positive mindset and then I upped my weights when I got to the gym because I felt stronger. It literally did work. It might have just been my mindset, but it worked. Okay. So we want to be operating in this space of limitless possibility and stepping into this space of embodiment. And this, right? This is what feminine embodiment work is doing as well. This is what the feminine embodiment mentors, all the work around the divine feminine, the Rose Oracle, you see a lot of focus on womb healing, womb clearing. Like, this is all like really, really important work. But I don't see anyone actually bridging this together, bridging it with the science, bridging it with the neurodiversity, bridging it with the sensitivity, HSP, being an empath, and all of the things. It really is all one of the same. So if you are neurodivergent, if you are sensitive, if you are an empath, then this feminine embodiment work is even more powerful for you and will amplify your power. Being embodied in my feminine has majorly amplified my power. Firstly, yes, because those needs over here, like those needs are taken care of plus more, because it's, daily pleasure, joy, attunement to my body, the mindfulness, the awareness of the consciousness of what's going on for me. What does my body need right now? And then leaning into that space of the nourishment, the desire. Okay. So I want to piece this all together because the science backs that, the positive psychology backs that. I spoke about this after I went to Glastonbury the first time. This was coming up for 7 years ago now, I think. And what I noticed in Glastonbury was that, and there's a lot of dark stuff in Glastonbury. I'm not going to talk about that today. I've got other podcast episodes on that. But what I noticed in the honoring of the divine feminine and the honoring of the goddess was like a rich abundance, right? We've just been through the 8-8 portal. Abundance, a rich abundance, nourishment. Okay. That doesn't exist in patriarchal society, okay? And where have we been operating as sensitive, neurodivergent women, pushing ourselves into burnout? We've been operating in a patriarchal society, okay? So it's all one of the same. I just wanted to cover that. But what embodiment really means is, who am I being? What is the identity of that person? What is the identity? And how do I move in the direction of that identity? What aligned actions, and I want to really highlight this, underline this word, aligned. What aligned actions am I taking? And this is where we can use the feminine embodiment work as well, because it's like when I'm in that nourished, sacred space, sacred vessel, I've got the boundaries, my phone is off, my TV is off, I've got my sacred time, I'm sat by the river, whatever the thing, we then get the idea come through, and then it's that idea that we birth into the world. That is the thing that we do, okay? That is the aligned action. In case anyone doesn't know what that means, when they hear someone say aligned action or spiritually aligned action, this is basically what that means. And what I am passionate about with you, and this is what I'm doing with a lot of clients at the moment, is holding space for you to sit in that container, right? Because sometimes you, your brain, your distracted brain, or, whatever it is you've got going on for you, sometimes we need someone else to hold that space for us, to witness us in that safe container for this stuff to come through. And I am incredibly protective of my clients as well. So I'm like protecting your space, I'm clearing your energy, and then it's like, okay, what's going to come through? And this is the Authentic You podcast. So it's always your authentic truth, your authentic way, what feels like that sacred yes and no for you. So that part is important. It's actually important to have the space, to have the sacred container. And I'm giving you a little hint of what's coming in September. We have an amazing, amazing sacred container coming for you in September that you're going to love. If you love main character May, like, start reaching out to me now on socials before I put this live so you can get some more information on this, because it's coming very, very soon. This is what we're doing, that sacred container. And then what comes with the embodiment piece is knowing and taking the aligned action. So this is what I've been seeing in the sensitive leadership reset sessions, is that women know, like, they're pretty in touch with, I know what my yes is, I know what my no is, or even able to kind of go, no, that doesn't feel so good. Oh, I did that. I didn't feel so good. Okay. Sometimes it's a bit of a test and learn. Okay. Certainly for me in my life, like, I've had lessons, I've had failings, and part of my role as a leader, as a guide, is to share those experiences, share those lessons and learnings with you to help shortcut that process for you as well. Okay. But sometimes you will have those lessons, you will have those learnings. And actually, and let me know in comments if you're watching this on the video, have you found actually the lessons and the wisdom from those things that have happened is so much more deeply ingrained, and you're so much more likely to do something different about it. Okay. And again, this is what I'm passionate about, holding that space for you. And one of the women in the sensitive leadership reset sessions that we're doing at the moment, we're actually treating the 3 VIP Telegram days you get, where you get text coaching with me in that space. We're actually treating that as an experimental space. So it's like, as she's out in the world experimenting, doing her work, having her, relationship, having her relationships, having her clients, and all of the things, I'm there holding her in that container, and we're using that as an experimental phase. Okay. So sometimes you need to have the experiments and have someone to hold you in that, to go, what's right for you? Each time someone comes to me and says, what do you think about this situation? More often than not, I will say, what feels right for you? I might deliver an intuitive message. I might say, okay, what I'm seeing is this. And then here you go. What are you going to do with that? What feels right for you? So the embodiment piece is so important. And the embodiment isn't just the doing and the aligned action, it's also the being. The being might be an aligned action. Who am I being? How am I going to bring mindful awareness to my thoughts? It might be, as I'm flowing through my day, I have an awareness of my thoughts, and then I flip it. I have an awareness of some energy. I clear it. It's like that leadership energy in this as well. It's like, who am I being as that sensitive leader that is here right now for a reason on the planet at this time? How am I leading myself? Because the only leadership is self-leadership. We lead self first, and then we can hold that space for others, and we can lead others. So this is all about really a return to who we are. So as we create this sacred space, within that sacred space, what that really is a return to who we are. So any traumas, conditioning, beliefs, and all of the things that we have built up over our lives, you can think about them as kind of, existing or coexisting within that field. And they do coexist in that field, and they do create cords and energy hooks to other things as well. This is what happens in the, going a little technical here, dimensionally, this is what is happening in the 4D space. Okay. In the 4D space, your subconscious interacts with the, not only your mindset patterns, but the energy in your field. And if there are patterns sitting there, and this is why the trauma work is so important, and this is why I said to someone the other day on a video, someone was saying, like, they don't know the best way to get their spiritual gifts online. And I said, just heal your trauma and watch what happens. Do somatic work, heal your trauma, watch what happens. And this is what happened to me. I committed to doing breath work regularly and other somatic practices. And it just comes on because the trauma is held in your field, which interacts with your subconscious, which interacts with your superconscious, which is that magical metaphysical part of your brain. I just saw a little orb as I said that. And that connects into, this is like where some of this work of Carl Jung is, right? That connects into the collective unconscious. So your wounds are connecting into someone else's wounds, are connecting into a collective pattern. And this is the space that energy can come into. This is a space that when you have those dreams that you know just aren't dreams and are actually energy that's accessing you in the night, like this is that space. This is the work that I do in my cosmic healing session with clients as well. This is how I've built up this picture over time of like, this is what's happening in the 4D. This is why. Okay. So when we heal the trauma and we clear the energy and we say, I am sacred space, this is my sacred space, we clear that sacred space. We do the womb healing. I'm literally like, as I'm doing this video, like scooping the energy out, imagining that there's a bowl and we're scooping the water out to put some nice fresh water in there. Okay. That's what we're doing. So when we do that, this is then where we go back to who we authentically are. Like, this is who I authentically am on a soul level in this container. And from that space, that's the space that you can receive from. That's the space that you create magic from. And how do you do that? You do that through the embodiment piece. Okay. So it's, yes, healing, clearing, and then who am I embodying? How am I, once I've cleared that stuff out, once I've healed that trauma, what am I filling it with? And this is why in the Quantum Queen membership, we do quantum breath work, because what we do in that session is we clear out, we do the somatics, we clear out, and then we make sure that space is so protected and so divine to fill that with the source energy, to fill that with what we do want, to fill that with the desires, to fill that with the limitless possibilities for actually what we want and what we're moving towards. And this is my problem with, and I don't want to out anyone or like, I'm not a whistleblower. I actually had a really nasty comment on my TikTok the other day of like, you should out people that aren't doing this. I was like, no, it's not me. But what I will say is, a lot of spaces feel very wounded feminine for me at the moment, and I can't be in them. I can't be in them. Because what I see, like, that is such a gaping hole is firstly, like, your sensitivities are superpowers. No one's saying that. Like, if people were sat there struggling and they knew, like, hang on a moment, because this was the awareness for me. It was like, hang on a moment, all these things that I've been trying to fix, they're actually things that I'm here to do. So how do I create, again, sacred space? How do I create sacred space so that these things that I'm feeling, I can use these for how they are intended? And I can tune out the things that I don't want to know about, I don't need to know about, and there's no energy exchange to do that, okay? So this is the issue that I find with some of these spaces, and this is probably why you feel like you don't fit into spaces. You don't fit into certain spaces because you are so liminal. You are, you have big dreams and goals and a mission and a purpose, and you're incredibly sensitive, and you don't fit in spaces that say, let's just keep you out of burnout. Like, you fit in spaces that say, I honor my sensitivities, I honor my needs, I have deep, sacred knowing and nourishment for my body, and like, where am I moving towards as that sensitive leader, as those choices that I make, as that embodiment that I make. Like, you are here for something different. And what we kind of see is these two camps of like, let's stay out of burnout, like wounded feminine state here. And we see the toxic masculine state here of push more, do more, post every day, show up more, do all the things, right? And yes, I do post every day. For those that are like, yeah, but you're like, I'm seeing your stuff. Like, people say to me, I see your stuff online. I see like you do so many things, but I don't show up every day. But behind the scenes, you don't see that I don't show up every day. I have my content day and I batch my content. and stuff will just flow through me when I'm out walking, or like I'm doing something, or I'm sat watching TV and an idea pops in, and I will pop that idea into my phone, and then on my content day I'll create that stuff, and then stuff will just come out every day. So if you're listening to this thinking, yeah, but you're always showing up, I'm actually not. Okay, you don't see that behind the scenes, but there's this expectation or mentality, or what's the word, like almost an expectation from watching others of like this push mentality, right? And that is toxic masculine hustle, telling people to do that. And that is just, it's actually making me choke because I'm talking about it. Okay, push, hustle, toxic masculine, wounded feminine is the oh, how do I keep myself out of burnout? I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so stressed. All of the things. Like, I can't do it all. I can't do it all. Well, I'm sorry, but you're beautiful, divine being. You're not supposed to do it all. Okay. So it's like, it's both of these, and they trigger each other. But where we want to be is healthy feminine, nourishment, the sacred space, the channel, the gifts being used for the way that they are intended, the sacred rage. Come to one of my breathwork sessions in Quantum Queen. Like, the sacred rage practice. This is your outlet for that. This is that somatic healing space for that. The wild woman, right? There's the gentle quiet, there's the fiery fierce. They're both divine feminine. And then the divine masculine is those aligned actions, the container. How do we create the structure, the containers, the boundaries? And of course, the boundaries piece kind of crosses over too, because the boundaries is like the boundaries, but the boundaries is also this fierce feminine fire that actually comes out and protects you when it is channeled in the right way. Okay, so that's how we balance it. That's the divine masculine feminine. This is what a lot of embodiment mentors are talking about, and it is so underpinned by the science, and no one's talking about it. It's so underpinned by neurodiversity, HSP, sensitive, empath, and this is why we need to do this, and no one's talking about it. So hopefully I can bridge this embodiment piece for you today. And if this is really calling you and you would like to go deeper on this, then reach out to me on socials. I'll pop some links below on this video as well. Drop me a comment. I'd love for you to drop me a comment and let me know how this lands for you today. I've been trying to do some longer form videos on YouTube for this. So please let me know if you like this, if these longer videos are landing for you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Lots of love.